Today on Newsbeat, is our campus world prepared for an emergency?
A new Facebook policy may not be receiving many likes anytime soon. And a new tax law is pushing same-sex couples towards equality.
All this and more, Newsbeat starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Michael Edmondson.
And I'm Ambry Washington. Thanks for joining us.
School shootings can happen anywhere, even here at LSU. Reporter Erica Johnston helps explain why some students should be prepared.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, there were 33 school-associated homicides in the U.S. in 2009. School shootings can happen anywhere, including close to home. Captain Corey Lalonde of the LSU Police Department explains how his officers are preparing.
If it does happen here, we are prepared and we do train for it. LSU Police Department's generally going to be the first officers that respond to that scene. Number one priority is to go in to locate the threat and to neutralize that threat.
When asked of whether or not she feels prepared to deal with an active shooter situation, sophomore Laura Knaps says she has her doubts.
I would hope so. I'm not sure, but I would hope so.
While Laura says she relies on instinct, mass communications professor Bob Anderson has a more strategic approach to handling it.
Lock your door and not let anyone in until you're giving them all clear.
Captain Lalonde explains how LSU PD is helping to better prepare faculty and students for a potential active shooter situation.
On the LSU Police Department website, we do have several training videos. One is called Shots Fired and one is called Flashpoint.
Training videos can also be found on the Academy for Counter-Terrorist Education website and YouTube channel. Students and faculty can view these videos for steps on how to be ready for the unexpected. For Tiger TV, I'm Erica Johnston.
The LSU Academy of Counter-Terrorist Education travels across the country to prepare people for shooter situations.
Hey, Facebook users, the social media giant has a new policy change that concerns contestants with likable pages. Contest entries can no longer be shared via Facebook due to a new policy regulation. Facebook users can enter into a contest by liking a page, but they are not allowed to share the page itself on their personal timeline. Previously, Facebook users were allowed to enter contests by sharing the official contest page. Digital Media Initiative Director Lance Porter shares his thoughts on what could be called the new Facebook.
Before, they really were managing a pure user experience, trying to build their user base. Now it's looking at what activities people want to do on Facebook and figuring out ways to get a share of the money that's generated.
Details on the new policy can be found on the Facebook website.
Ghost bikes are a memorial for bicyclists killed by drunk drivers. Recently, 2 cyclists in Baton Rouge were struck while riding east on Perkins Road near Quail Drive. The Advocate reports one of the riders was killed instantly. The other suffered non-life-threatening injuries. In honor of the killed cyclist, a painted all-white bike was placed near the intersection of the scene. The white bicycle is a quiet statement in support of cyclists' rights to travel. Many students on campus rely on their bicycles as their main source of transportation. Junior Brianna Collins tells us what she is doing to avoid accidents.
The way I stay safe, I guess I just really, pay attention, make sure, just like you're walking, just make sure you look, before, make a right or left turn. It's just like driving a car.
Over 490 memorials have been placed in honor in over 180 locations across the world.
The current minimum wage is proving to be a problem for most workers in the U.S. Reporter Marissa Johnson tells us how our own student workers are being affected.
With the federal minimum wage remaining at $7.25 per hour since 2009, LSU student workers have been forced to make some tough decisions regarding what they will spend their money on. Students who do not live on campus must take into their budgets how they will get back and forth from campus. They also have phone bills and other expenses.
Recently, fast food workers across America went on strike. Unhappy with the minimum wage, many decided to take it to the streets. At LSU, many of our student workers make minimum wage.
Dr. Alyssa S. Plank, head of circulation at LSU's Middleton Library, tells us why student workers do not get paid above the federal minimum wage.
Employing fewer students this semester because frankly our budget for student employment got cut. And we don't have as many work study students because a lot of times they were told they could get work study, but they weren't actually given an allocation of money.
Without the money to pay the student workers who have already been promised jobs, it becomes even more difficult to pay students above the minimum wage.
Danielle Kelly, a student worker in the Manship School Lab and Junior Mass Communications, tells us what she thinks about her job.
I make minimum wage, and I actually got a quarter raise this semester, so I guess that's $7.50 an hour. They're very flexible, and yeah, you don't get paid that much, but you can go in between classes, and it really adds up after a while. I think it's really stupid if people want to strike for this job.
Not all student workers got raises, however, because money is tight.
In fact, we're working on trying to get a little more money because we haven't really changed the rate of pay since the minimum wage went up.
Like those fast food workers in other parts of the country, LSU student workers must find ways to supplement their on-campus earnings and must themselves figure out how they're going to make ends meet.
For Tiger TV, I'm Marissa Johnson.
For advice on how to plan a better budget, students can visit the Office of Financial Planning and Budgeting.
The Federal Internal Revenue Service recently passed a new federal tax law that affects the homosexual community. The Louisiana Civil Code does not recognize civil unions or same-sex marriages legally entered into other states. Louisiana law requires taxpayers to use the same status on state and federal tax returns. Last week, the IRS issued a ruling that will allow same-sex married couples to file their federal tax returns jointly, even in states that do not recognize gay marriage. Katie Perry, marketing director for the Student Equality Project, says members of the gay community are here to fight against inequality.
I feel like it's going to cause a lot of issues in Louisiana, particularly simply because gay rights aren't really super recognized. But since there's a federal mandate now, they're going to have to make room because we're here and we're not going.
The new law will apply to 2013 tax returns due in April.
Coming up, weatherman Jake Robles brings the heat in this Thursday weekend forecast.
Stay with us.
Good evening, LSU. I'm Jake Robles, and this is the weather. As you can tell by the sweat on your back as you walk to class today, it is hot. The summer weather just cannot seem to disappear. Today's highs has been around 93 degrees, but don't worry because once nightfall sets in, the temperature should drop closer to 70 degrees. This means it should feel fairly nice by the time y'all are ready to go out tonight. As for tomorrow, you can expect plentiful sunshine. It is perfect weather to head to your pool after class lets out. Even so, the temperature high is expected to be 94 degrees, so try to stay in the shade on your way to that pool outing or to class. The low for tomorrow is 69 degrees, though the temperature won't get that low until after the sun sets. Now to your 5-day forecast, we can expect sunny skies all weekend with some clouds building up as we get close to Monday. Once Monday hits, there's a 30% chance of isolated thunderstorms. The temperature is not expected to feel any better, so stay in the shade and dress light. Now it's time you've been waiting for, game day forecast. Hot, hot, hot is all I can say. Be sure to find a tailgate that has a tent or some shade because if not, you'll probably get a nice tan after you pass out from drinking too much. Well, drinking too much water. The temperature will be around 89 degrees, and it'll be great in the stadium. No chance of rain as usual. I'm Jake Robles. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jake. A new sorority is soaring onto campus. Coming up after break, we'll hear from Katie Stewart on our weekly student organization Spotlight.
Stay with us.
Welcome back to Newsbeat. I'm Katie Stewart, keeping you organized with all things student organizations. History is being made this week on LSU's campus as the great community welcomes a new sorority, Alpha Phi. The Panhellenic community has been in the extension process since 2011, and on June 25, 2012, the Panhellenic Council voted to invite Alpha Phi to campus. Panhellenic Executive Member and Director of Extension, Lauren Landry, has spent the past few months working closely with Alpha Phi to help them prepare for their first recruitment in life as Greek women at LSU. I spoke with Landry about what students can expect to gain from the new addition to the Greek community.
To witness history being made on campus, I mean, this hasn't been done in years, and getting a new chapter is something that you'll probably see once in a lifetime in your collegiate career.
Alpha Phi would like to invite all LSU Greek members to Bid Day tomorrow night for this exciting event in the Greek community. Starting at 6, new members will run down the road to their temporary home at the Press Building, where the Bid Day celebrations will be held with jambalaya and snowballs for everyone. From everyone here at Tiger TV, welcome to LSU, Alpha Phi, and as always, keep it organized. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Katie. That's all the time that we have for Newsbeat today.
Be sure to connect with us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Twitter for our latest updates. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Have a great weekend.